We want to welcome you to the broadcast of the Fullerton Informer, coming to you live on this Wednesday, May 12th, 2021. Welcome all of you to this early drive time edition, ladies and gentlemen. Give it just a moment here for confirmation of transmission. Make sure we have a stream. Looks like we do. All right, this is your host, Joe Imbriano, PO Box 4121, Fullerton, California, 92834. On the web at thefullertoninformer.com, 5gdangers.com, wifidangers.com, celltowerdangers.com. Folks, what the heck is going on in India, right? Well, your guess is as good as mine, isn't it? Well, you know, look, I talked on my other channel the other night about this, what's going on in India. And, you know, folks, a lot of things go on in India. They have for a long time. India's kind of a gigantic, obscure mess, right? Except now it's getting massive amounts of attention and media coverage because of what is becoming the focal point of media coverage, right? And it's these pyres, these burning piles of wood and bodies that you're seeing now, and these people walking around in masks and gloves and hat suits, and image after image of hospitals and oxygen tanks. India is in the grip of quite a mess right now. But I wanted to talk to you about this black fungus that you're hearing about, right? Because, you know, the people that run the media, although they're truly satanic to the core, that doesn't mean they're devoid of earthly wisdom and knowledge, okay? They are masters in deception, and they are masters in creating a narrative and making it believable and blending it with all the science fiction that they've fed us through the other outfit that they run called the movie industry, right? All the books and comic books and all the stuff that we've been taught about is being merged with what you're seeing on the television, folks. Now, this black fungus, mucormycosis, I don't know what it's called, mucormycosoma or something like that. It used to be called something else, but they changed the name. Mycosis, I think, is the name of the. It used to be called zygomycosis back when I was in school, but they changed the name of it to, I don't know. But it's a fungus, folks, and this fungus lives in the soil. It lives in decomposing organic matter. It's everywhere. It's in the air. The spores are airborne. And so now they're telling everybody, we got a big problem on our hands because we have this mysterious black fungus that is killing people and making them, you know, maimed and sick and deformed. Folks, let me tell you why the fungus is hurting people in India. Well, first of all, they're saying it's a symptom of COVID. And they're saying that it's taking hold in people that have survived the variant, right? Folks, the reason that you get infections is because your immune system is compromised. And what is happening in India is they're using the crap out of steroid medications, which are highly immunosuppressive by the very virtue of their pharmacological action of being anti-inflammatory, okay? So people are being dosed with very high dosages of corticosteroids. And there have been a lot of warnings for years about the dangers of steroids. I mean, you can be put on, you know, there's prednisone and decadron and prednisolone, and I think they're using a really strong one over there. They're just right over the top. They're using, you know, high dosage stuff. And folks, it shuts your immune system down. Now, allegedly, they're using this to deal with what is called inflammation from this alleged viral pneumonia that they're labeling people as having. Okay, there's a lot of reasons why you have a hard time breathing and you develop abnormalities in a chest x-ray or in a CT scan, folks. I mean, it could be anything from cystic fibrosis to air pollution to asthma to exposure to bronchial pneumonia to environmental poisoning. You could have a blood clot. You could have a combination of everything I just mentioned, right? And so one of the protocols that they're using over there is high dosage steroids, and that obviously shuts the immune system down, and everybody's huffing this fungus that's been in the air forever. Except now they're jacked up on steroids, and the fungus takes hold, takes root, literally. And so what fungus does is it begins to decompose. It's most of the fungal issues are caused by the skin being penetrated by whatever. In the past, it's look, this fungal infection is nothing new, and it's very rare. But what's also very rare that's become common is the use of steroids. Okay, all right. So, I just want to put a little bit of clarity out there because, they're using these very frightening words and imagery in the media, all these body burnings. They've been burning bodies in India for millennia, folks. It's part of their religious practice. It's part of their ceremonial religious practices. And I bet you didn't. And by the way, where is Al Gore complaining about, and Joe Biden? Why isn't Al Gore and Joe Biden coming on nightly news every night talking about all the carbon emissions from what they're doing over there? No, they're talking about running out of wood, right? Folks, let me tell you something about the petrochemical, pill-pushing, poisoning, allopathic medical doctors. Flypaper. You get 1 foot in the door of a doctor's office, you're asking for trouble. And if you put both feet in there, before you know it, you're slouched over the desk signing things with your hands, and they've got all fours on the petri dish. And that means you're going to walk out of there with a little white slip, and you're not going to the principal's office with it, folks. You're going to the pharmacy. Now, when you begin to take pharmaceutical drugs, every single pharmaceutical drug has a side effect. Every single drug you take has a reaction in the body. That's what it's designed to do. And by the way, sometimes it has a lot of different reactions in your body and causes a lot of different problems. The use of steroid therapy, super high dosage steroid therapy, is what is making these people catch an infection from fungal spores that are ubiquitous in the environment. There are all kinds of spores floating around. Folks, I don't know if you guys or gals eat bread, but I can tell you something about bread, right? You could leave something out and, I'll give you some. It could be bread, it could be meat, it could be any type of, foods per se that aren't laced with preservatives. You know what you're going to find if you leave it out long enough is all of a sudden some green stuff's going to be growing on it, right? Okay, folks, mold is everywhere. Okay, wet your drywall in your house in the dark and watch the mold appear, right? Mold is ubiquitous in the environment. It is an integral part of decomposition cycles in nature, freeing up trapped organic matter and carbon. Mold and fungus are part of the soil chemistry remediation. I mean, there's all kinds of people. If you're in agriculture or you're growing dope, you'll know about mycorrhizae. You'll know about things that are in the soil. I'm an avid gardener, so I've been breathing bat guano and mycorrhizae for many years without a mask, handling it with my bare hands. I've never been afraid of bat droppings. I've never been afraid of any of that stuff. I don't wear masks when I work in the dirt. I don't wear masks, period, right? My point is that if you're healthy and you're not immunocompromised, you don't have anything to worry about. But the problem is people that deal with the doctors end up immunocompromised, because you can go in there with the sniffles and they'll run a battery of allergy tests and you'll walk out of there with a prednisone prescription. And before you know it, you'll end up with aseptic necrosis and you'll shatter your hip stepping off the sidewalk in 5 years if you're not careful with these things. These things cause all kinds of problems, folks. And, this black fungus is just one of the many things it causes. India is full of fungus. So is the Pacific Northwest. So is your bathroom. So is your kitchen. So is your garage. So is every place that there is wind and dirt and trees and animals and animal droppings and food particles and everything else. The question is whether your body's capable of keeping out what doesn't belong taking a foothold in your body out. Well, I'm just going to warn all of you to be very, very careful with your relationship with anyone pushing meds on you. Okay? I can guarantee you have a normal immune system. If you're jacked up on steroids for whatever reason, you better live in an oxygen tent, because you can get sick and die from just about anything. Okay? And that is a fact, folks. Steroids are highly immunosuppressive. Okay, steroids are used in cancer treatment. They're used in all kinds of treatments after surgeries, as anti-rejection protocols for transplants and things along those lines. They're used in the treatment of allergies. They're used in the treatment of asthma. They are used in the treatment of acute lung infections. They're being used in this operation right now. The problem is they're being overused, and we are starting to see the fallout, just like with the overuse of antibiotics, and we see these emergent strains of infectious agents that are resistant to the antibiotics, and they become a nightmare, right? Well, we're dealing with that right now. Prognosis is not good if you end up with one of these mucormycosis infections, I'm telling you. The zygomycosis infections, folks, they're bad news if they get a foothold in your body, because, quite frankly, it's not a good outcome. You can't cut the stuff out, because the terrain is everything when it comes to fungus, folks. Have you ever taken a blowtorch to a mushroom on a tree in the forest? Well, I can tell you what will happen. You'll burn that mushroom, right? But you come back in a couple weeks, it grows right back. Why? Because you haven't dealt with the reason why it's growing there. It's dealing with a dead or diseased or dying tree, and it's already gotten the signal that, hey, nobody's stopping us from taking the organic matter out of this thing. So the fungus does what? It injects its tendrils deep down inside the heart of that trunk and begins the process of doing what it's supposed to do, and that is to decompose. When you have a human being whose immune system has been turned off by a doctor on a drip system in a hospital somewhere, the fungus is going to do the same thing, folks. If you're involved with somebody that is giving you advice without giving you a balanced perspective, you are playing with fire, folks. We are in a day and age right now where you just can't blindly trust any type of systems anymore. Okay? And I have to tell you that the news coverage of what is going on, it's almost juvenile in terms of the target audience of the propaganda. I mean, the way the stuff is written and the way the imagery is being posted and pushed, it's kind of insulting that people can't see that they're being freaked out. Okay. Tens of thousands of people a day die for whatever reason in India. That's nothing new, folks. And some of the poorest places in the world, some of the most squalor in the world is in India. Okay, it's one of the world's most populous nations. Okay, a lot of people there, and there's a lot of conditions that, by and large, most people would not condone. There's a lot of dirt and a lot of dust, a lot of pollution, and a lot of stuff floating around, folks. And there's a lot of beautiful parts of it floating around in it. But it's not a problem unless you've been on the doctor's flypaper, folks. And that's why all of you out there that can, I recommend that you try to free yourself from all of these petrochemical pill-pushing pimps' clutches. Because every single drug causes a side effect, and a lot of people are taking a lot of drugs because of a lot of side effects, one to negate the other and such forth, and vice versa. And a majority of hospitalizations are literally caused by medications. A lot of ER visits and hospital admissions are caused by pharmacological agents' contraindications. Things don't work well when you mix things, right? That's why people that do the Red Bull and the Jaeger bombs, right? They'll drink like an energy drink with the alcohol. They'll take a stimulant and a depressant, put it in the same cup and guzzle it. You don't do that, folks. You don't burn a candle at two ends. It burns twice as fast, and it runs out and it turns into nothing a lot quicker, folks, please. All right? Are you following me on this one? How do you guys like my 630 shadow, by the way? Am I going to hear about... Oh, by the way, you know why I was wearing this the other day? Do you see this right here? I was wearing this face shield not because I'm afraid of some thing in the air. It's because it was to block the headlights. When I drive in the dark, I don't like staring into the LED projector beam headlights of all these weaponized headlight systems on all these new cars, okay? That's why I wear the face shield or the goggles at night, okay? Now, while we're on the topic, we need to fully understand what is being done to us, folks. And what is being done to us is what they showed that they were going to do to us in the movies, okay? Because what the movies are simply on-the-job training videos for when the day comes when they put us to work for them, right? Tells us how to behave, how to respond, what to expect, right? Oh yeah, I saw this in a movie. Oh, I guess this is what we do because yeah, that's what happened in the movie. So I guess we should do this too. Yeah. Well, that's what they were doing in the movie. Oh, this is what happened in the movie, right? And it becomes educational. While they call it entertainment, it's really a form of education. And there really is no such thing as education, folks. If you really want to know the truth, education is nothing but brainwash. Wisdom. Wisdom is something that you need to possess. It's not for sale, and it comes from God, okay? You don't learn wisdom from textbooks and teachers. Wisdom comes from the Holy Spirit. And it comes through a relationship with Jesus Christ. Earthly wisdom will tell you to emotionally and immediately react to an external stimuli without processing the potential for it being an agenda or having some nefarious purpose associated with it being utilized as a trauma-based mind control instrument. Wisdom will tell you, well, let's process this, let's analyze this, and let's see if it's worthy of a reaction or an action or ignoring. You need to have discernment that comes from God. You cannot believe everything you're taught, everything you're told to repeat, everything you're forced to memorize in school, everything you're forced to write about in school, everything you're forced to learn in college, everything the teacher tells you. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. The more they try to ram, the less you're going to be able to understand. And the less you understand, the more likely you are to be their slave, and for somebody with a bad agenda to have their way with you. Okay? When I was young, I made a decision after having dealt with certain people And that decision was to not let anybody have their way with me ever again. Okay? And that doesn't just go for on the playground, folks. That has to do with every aspect of your life. Okay? And when you think about every aspect of your life, there are a lot of people having their way with you right now, unbeknownst to you, that you may not even want to believe is taking place. First place that's taking place is on the television. Okay? It's in the school. It's in the college. It's in the textbooks. You know, it's unbelievable when I look at what they're teaching children. When I look at the, you know, when you sit back, I'll give you an example. You got somebody you remember in high school. Remember that girl that you used to, you know, sit across from, and man, you know, remember back then, 30-something years ago, boy, you wished you could just take her to the miniature golf course and just have a few hours to try to close the deal. And you know, you remembered certain things about that lovely young lady many years ago, and you know, it's like they're frozen in your mind the way they looked back then. And then all of a sudden, you get this friend request on Facebook, right? And then you look at this person, and you haven't seen every day for 30 years, and you go, oh my goodness, I don't recognize this person. Okay, they don't look the same. When you do not see somebody for decades, and then you see them after decades, whether it be a high school reunion or whatever, you're going to notice a tremendous difference, right? Well, the same thing goes if you're off the television and if you're not plugged into Hollywood, and you don't know the latest and greatest scam and lies and scum that's the top news, and you're not following all this garbage, right? You know, what's going to happen is when somebody throws something in front of you, and you see one of these satanic trash bags throwing the Illuminati signs, you know, in a pose with themselves wrapped around a cell tower or something, you're going to go, oh my gosh, this is disgusting, right? The average person, they see that. They don't see all the symbolisms and all of the insinuations that are taking place in the presentation. My point is, man, if you're detached from the brainwashing, you can clearly see what they're doing when you go visit somebody and they got the idiot box on. You know, it's really obvious. So the longer you stay away from the programming, the clearer your mind is going to be. And the clearer your understanding of what they're trying to do to us will be. And the clearer and easier it is to make informed, objective, correct decisions about plans of action to take will be. Okay? You need to understand. And understanding comes through wisdom. God is not the author of confusion. The devil is. The people that run the media serve the devil. They don't hide it. They don't hide it with their symbols. They don't hide it with the people they hire. They don't hide it with the agendas they push. As a matter of fact, they make it widely known now. And they glamorize and glorify people who worship the devil, folks. All right. Please do me a favor. Take care of yourselves. You know, do what you need to do to clean up your act, clean up your life. Get right with Jesus Christ, folks. You know, every one of us has got issues. We all have sin in our life. We all have struggles. But Jesus can clean you up. None of us is ever going to be perfect. None of us ever leaves this earth perfect. None of us are capable of being perfect. That's why he had to come and shed his blood for our transgressions, folks, for our missing the mark. A lot of us do it more than others. Many of us do it more than we'd like. All of us do it whether we like it or not. We all sin and fall short of the glory of God, folks. We need his grace. We need his forgiveness. We need the sinless atonement of Jesus Christ. Accept it while you have the chance. Share his gift and his wisdom with all you know. And with all your heart, seek him at all costs. This has been another broadcast of the Fullerton Informer. Joe Imbriano, your host, coming to you live from the sunny streets of Orange, California. And I'm going to tell you right now, folks, It's been a great week. It's going to be an even greater week ahead. We just need to keep our eyes on the prize, and that's the race we run to win. So when we get to heaven, he will say, well done, good and faithful servant. Come and inherit what has been prepared to you before I laid the foundations of the earth. Boy, that's going to be a great day. Folks, lay hold on eternal life with one hand and have your other hand on that plow and look ahead. We've got to do what we've got to do for those that will come after us. Take that to the bank, ladies and gentlemen. In Jesus' name we go. Take care.